Welcome back, everyone. It's Justin from Parity InfoSec, and today we're going to be going back to school with Academy. So Academy was a fairly easy box. There's not a whole lot to this. The image that comes with it is talking about Active Directory, what is hacking. This one is a little twisted, trying to get between users, but for the most part, it doesn't take a lot of tools. For this one, I'm using a normal web browser. We're going to go see a website. And to really interact and get what we need, we're going to need to intercept a request, manipulate it in either Burp Suite or Zap, push that over, and we'll get some admin access, which will give us some information to keep on moving along. I'm going to use Metasploit for this one. Instead of manually exploiting it, I'm just going to use the ready-made tools, get us into the box, because the real effort is going to be in trying to escalate your privileges from one user to another before you finally get to root. But great box from Egress and Mr. Ben. Let's get started. It's a new week, but we're going to use the same old tricks. So we'll start with an Nmap. So Nmap 10, 10, 10, 215. It's going to come back with ports 22 and 80. What you're going to find is that if you do a full port scan, you will find port 33060. That one is tied to MySQL, and that port can be accessed through a variety of different command line tools that are out there on GitHub, things like that. I went through that, but it's more of a rabbit hole. It's really not going to be able to allow you to get anything or anything more than what you would get from where we're going. So we're going to stick to just port 80. So we'll go ahead and open up and take a look at our website. Proxy is off. And we're going to let it go. And the first thing it's going to do is going to redirect us to academy.htb. So they're using virtual hosts on this box. And that's easy enough. We'll just go in and do a nano on Etsy hosts. And we'll just add that IP along with the virtual host and save it. When we come back over to this box, we'll be able to refresh, and there's our page. So HackTheBox put this box out about 4 months ago, coinciding pretty close with their launch of their Academy learning services. They use a bunch of different modules, and we will be able to take a look at them briefly when we come in here. But for right now, let's go ahead and go to the register page. Always my favorite. At this point, I do want to turn my burp on. And we're going to try and take a look at this request. I will leave it on intercept where we're at right now. So let's go ahead and make this account. We're going to call it Parity. I'm going to just put in mine and hit register. And it's going to drop here. And so we've got Parity, mine with a role ID of 0. We'll go ahead and forward that. And it looks like it registered just fine. If we come in here, it's going to come back and say it had a 200. Okay. Good to go. All right. We'll go ahead and go back to login. And I'll just back us up a couple of pages. And we'll go to login. And we still have our intercept on, so let's turn that off. And with login, we could say parity, and then mine, and it logs us in. And like I said, this is where you'll find the modules. They have their own section on HackTheBox now, their own website, and you'll be able to unlock modules for different credits. This one's showing that they've got 5,970 cubes. You can purchase more cubes, or you can get them through VIP, you can get them through events. They've done a couple 2-on-2 tournaments that is part of their new PvP system, and being able to attack and defend. That's one of the functions, a couple different ways to get them, but some of them are free, some of them require unlocks. So just go ahead and take a look if you haven't already. It's a really good way to specifically look at things that you don't know about. So like this one, the attacking web applications with FUF, I actually enjoyed that one. I have done it, and it is helpful, and it's a new tool that I don't use very often, but it's great. Here, there's one on Active Directory Power View, Active Directory Bloodhound, These can be very challenging for people, so it's really nice if you need the help to go in here and take a look. They do have more sections and things that go in depth, and it's very modular. It's great. Okay, that aside, we're in here, but there's not a lot we can do. It's going to do a bunch of different filtering. Everything that you see is kind of a hashed out system. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my burp for a second, and then I'm going to hit log out. And the log out still doesn't really log you out. So one of the things, I have this cookie manager. I'm going to say delete current site cookies. And then I will go ahead and go back to this main page, because we're going to have an issue if we keep running on the same cookies. That's not what I wanted. Let's go ahead and delete that and take us back here. So now if I look at the cookies, there are no cookies. There's no session information. So we will go to register, and then we will turn intercept on, turn our proxy back on, and we'll make a new account. And this one we're going to call infosec. Ooh, capital. And we're going to go ahead and hit register. Now, we talked about it a little bit before in the first intercept. Infosec, mine, and then there's a role ID of 0. This is the thing that we had. We needed to make sure that we really delete this PHP session ID. That cookie will mess you up if you keep re-requesting with the same cookie. So you gotta make sure you don't have a cookie, or you request a new cookie when you do this. Either way, we're gonna change this role to 1 and see what happens. I am gonna say do intercept any response to this request, and we'll go ahead and forward that on. We do get a 302 back, so this 302 is gonna send us to a success page. And we'll go ahead and forward to the success page. We get that, and it's gonna refer, it's saying it's referring here. We'll go ahead and forward that success page on. So here's our success page. It says welcome. It is asking for the login page, and it takes us right back to the login page. Now if I say infosec mine, we're going to see that it is requesting this. I'm not sure if capitalization matters. We'll go ahead and forward, and it's saying cool, get home, forward, and it takes us back here. That's really not going to get us what we need. So it's important to come back here, and we're going to need to do a Gobuster. There is a little bit of an issue with this, so we'll do our virtual host academy.htb. I'm going to give it the word list, opt, sec list, discovery, web content. Ooh, I got capital now. Web content, raft large words.txt. I'm going to give it 150 threads. This isn't too bad. And one of the things, if you've been paying attention, all of these are PHPs. So by default, I really want to try and stick to PHPs. It'll just be a lot easier, and we'll find what we're looking for. So we're going to look at academy.htb. Here's our file list, 150 PHP, go. So we're seeing register PHP. We're seeing our login.php. We're now seeing an admin.php. There's index, home, config.php. So there's a couple pages here. The one I really want to focus on is admin.php, especially since we went in there and we changed that role. So we'll go ahead and just take us to admin.php. I'm going to turn burp off now, because that was the big thing, was just intercepting and changing that role ID. And you can do it in the client as well. So this one we'll call infosec mine. Let's try capital infosec mine. It did not like our request. If we go back and we look at our history, the last register, we did say infosec mine, and it's saying a role ID of 0. I thought we changed it to 1. My apologies. Well, that's easy enough. Let's go ahead and go back into our browser. We are at the admin login, but we want to go back to register. We call this parity infosec. Mine. We do need to turn our browser back on, or our proxy back on. And intercept is on. I'm going to turn it off and turn it back on just to get rid of anything that was in the pipe. We'll click register. It is sitting here, so we're going to manipulate this to say 1. And then we'll just say do intercept any response. And let's take a look. So we're going to forward it and get a 200 back. So it likes it. We're going to forward it, and that's it. That's all the information you get. But now we should be able to go back to admin.php. Turn this off. Admin.php. Mine. And we got into the admin page. So this is their launch planner. This is some information. It's going to give us a couple things. First of all, these are 2 sets of usernames. We need to keep track of those. So Cryolite and Mr. Ben look very interesting to us. We're going to go ahead and finalize. Website design is done. Test all modules done. All this is done. And then it's just saying pending for fix issue with dev staging 01 academy. Just like before, this is a virtual host. So we need to add it to our list. We'll do that through sudo nano etc hosts. And here, because it's already there, we can just paste it in and close and save that. Let's go take a look at that website. All right. Yes, take me there. All right. It is definitely having an issue on this website. That's why it's saying they still need to fix it. But there's a lot of good information here. You're going to see that they're using storage logs Laravel. So Laravel, let's start with that. I wasn't familiar with this. Laravel is a PHP framework. It's always handy to try this. Exploit, and there are some out there. There's one on debug mode that just came out not too long ago, but for our purposes, we're really looking at this Unserialize 2018-15-133. It also ties back to 2017-16-894, and that is a token unserialized remote command. And if you really look into it, you're going to find out that it has a Metasploit module. So being an easy box, it's okay. I'm out of creature of habit. I usually don't like to do Metasploit, but I got a lot more familiar with it using Dante. So let's just do Laravel. And that is one exploit in here for Laravel. So I'll just go ahead and look at the info for this one. If we scroll back up, you're going to see the name, the module, everything, the platform that it uses. It does say Unix, but it'll be NEX. You've got some pretty basic information here that you need. The app key, it says no required. You don't need a proxy. You've got your rhost, your rport. It doesn't say that you need vhost, but we do know that we're running vhost. So you're going to run into some issues like that where if you don't know what you're looking at, you're going to get kind of caught up. But down here in the description, it says authentication is not required. However, exploitation requires knowledge of the Laravel app key. And it says in some cases, the app key is leaked, which allows for discovery and exploitation. So if we go back over to this page, we know that we'd like to go after Laravel. There's some information over here. You've got some code where it errored out. We know that it's running on this, and you know your file structure, so var www.html, and then that is the dev staging folder with the laravel.log. If you keep coming down, you've actually got what is the environmental variables file. So we're going to find out a lot of information down here. So here's the server name, the address, here's the port, that's my address, 14.4, and you can just keep coming down and find a bunch of different information. One of the things that's going to stick out is this, the app key. It said over here that, you know, it requires knowledge of the Laravel app key. Well, they gave it to us. So let's go ahead and take that, and we're going to copy and paste that into Metasploit. So we're going to say use 0 because that was the module. It gives us all this information, show options, and we'll scroll up and it'll say app key. So set app key, paste that in there. Let's also take a look at some more stuff. So we need to set the R host. We need to set the V host as well. And we're going to go after the main site. So set V host is just going to be academy.htb. Set R hosts as 10.10.10.215. You could set it as academy, but this is a little bit more clear. Set L host. If anybody hasn't seen this before, I like to set ton 0. When you're using HackTheBox, it'll automatically detect the tunnel. So it'll say 14.4. We'll just do a quick show options and take a look. This is super basic. A lot of times I prefer to change some of the L port and stuff like that, but I'm not really worried about that just because of this box. It's an easy box. I don't want to get too complicated. So let's go ahead and run. So it said it exploited, but no session was created. Let's double check our information. 10.10.10.215. That is our app key in base 64. I think I will actually come back here and make sure that we're going after this server. So this is the key for this server. The other is probably got its own key. So set vhost to this. And now if we exploit it, we do get a command shell. So that was my apologies. If we do ID, we're going to see we are data. If I say, who am I? So as data, what can we do? We can always do a cat etc password. Make sure you're going to see there's a whole list of additional users on this box. The only ones that we've seen so far was the Cryolite and the Mr. Ben. So pretty good avenue of attack on that one. I'm going to upgrade my shell real quick just because it's better for me. So I always like to say which Python. Okay, which Python 3. It is Python 3, so we will just say Python 3 and do the import pty. And then just spawn another shell out of that with bin bash. Oh, I wrecked it. Let's try that again. I'll just copy and paste. I accidentally put that backslash there, so bin bash p2. There, now we're good. All right, my apologies on that one. We are sitting in the dev public, but we do have access to the whole box, so we can come back here. We're in dev. There's HTML, and you'll see that there's two sites. There's the Academy and then that development one. So we got in through development, but now we have access to both. So the main site kind of has some of that information. You're going to find the different sites. I like to do an LSLIA. And you'll be able to see there's a lot of directories here. They have different roots and resources. And then here's also some environmental variables. So if we say cat.env, you will see they're running on this as the app key which should be good. Didn't let us in. That's okay. If you keep coming down here, we kind of stumble across this. This is the password. So interestingly enough, it's the MySQL password. And we'll go ahead and copy that. Knowing that we want to get into some of the stuff, I'm going to go to home and see what we have for directories. And we do have a directory for each of these. So let's ls, I don't want to go too far. So let's ls liar for user.txt. Can't, okay. We'll try this. Let's grep user.txt. So it says we can't open a few things, but we can get in, and we see that user.txt is sitting in CryoLite. It's usually the first place you want to jump, so let's go to CryoLite, and we see the user.txt. Cat user.txt is not going to work because we don't have read writes. We got a password. Let's try a password. So sudo CryoLite. We'll put in that my super password, and we get a new prompt. And if I say ID, we're going to find out we are CryoLite. Well, that's awesome. You can do a bin bash to get a slightly better shell, but now that we're kind of at a different user, we can just open a new window. Let's SSH to CryoLite at academy.htb. Give it that same password, and now we have a shell. If we do a bin bash, we got a little bit more control. It looks a little bit nicer. It even takes a clear screen command. ls lia cat user.txt, and we've got our user. So not too bad. In and out 20 minutes, we got a user. Now we have to figure out how we're going to escalate our privileges. So if I do that, add the ID again, you're going to see that we have a group here called admin, ADM, and ADM Linux privilege escalation, because when in doubt, Google that stuff. And you'll see a lot of sites that are going to kind of say the same thing. Let's see. So this one's going to say, you know, what can it do? If you're a part of the ADM group, we may be able to view logs in var log. So we're not a member of the LXD group. We should really only see a difference of being able to access var log. So let's go to var log. There's tons of logs here. That's kind of a tricky one. There's a lot of ways to go about this, but I wanted to really look for the ones that had a group of ADM. You know, root and readability means it's world readable. We want something, knowing the way that HackTheBox works, something that requires ADM to get access. Again, this one, you have read access as any user. These might be interesting, the kernel logs, the syslogs, and a few more. But I want to take a look at the audit logs, because that's another one that's kind of limited. So we'll go to cd audit, and we'll take a look. And there are a couple audit logs in here. Google it again and say audit logs, privilege escalation. And we could even say passwords. Yeah, we're looking for some information. Unfortunately, here's the one I was looking for. So this one is from Red Siege, came out in 2019. They did a blog post, it's kind of interesting, which is just saying if you have access to var log audit logs, when you do certain things over TTY inputs, the PAM module is going to save some information. So you can use this audit report, TTY, and then grep for sudo su. You'll see information like this. It comes from the log like this. I'm not sure that we have AU report. We'll go ahead and take a look. Oh, we do. Okay. So if we were to say AU report TTY, it's an unsupported option, double dash. You'll be able to come in here and see, Sue, Mr. Ben Academy, who am I, exit, bin bash, I. So the things that are being done over TTY connections are being saved. You can see they tried to go to history, exit. There's a lot of information up in here. They were trying to delete, go back and forth. But we have just found another set of creds here. I'll be honest, I did not try this one first. This is way, way easier. But I do want to take this opportunity to show you awk and cut and some of the things that I did the first time I was coming around. A little bit harder, but it can be more beneficial in the long run if you're familiar with this. So if we go back to the Red Siege log, it's going to say if you have access, you can pull down the information straight from the file and then echo that to XXD and reverse it from hex, and you'll pull out information and you would get the same thing. So that's essentially what AU report is doing. I want to try and do the same function using grep. So if I say cat star, and it's telling us we're looking for this file called, or this portion called data. So I want to grep for data equals, and I'm going to find all this information. And there's a bunch of different parts here. The way I usually work, I like to use cut. So if you were to cut, and this is your thing here, I usually would cut here. In this case, the easiest is equal sign, so it'd be equal. This would be field 1. This would be field 2, all the way up to the next equal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this would be field 11. So if I take that information and I say cut with the delimiter of an equal sign, give me field 11. There's all the information. And if you take all of that script right there, you can say for each line. So we'll say for L's each line in, and then you can run this command. I want you to echo F or line L, and then XXDRP. And what it's going to do is it's going to take each one of these lines and it's going to push it through and try and reverse. And you're going to see because of those, whoops, and then done. So I messed that up. Because of the way that these codes were in there with the delete functions and things like that, there's tons of issues that come with the output. But you will see it kind of smashed it in. You can see some of the output. If I do that command again, in here you will see the Sue, Mr. Ben Academy. It gets a little sloppy, a little bit of a pain. Again, there's a couple ways to handle that. If you take that whole thing, oh wait, I'm gonna clear this up. There you go. So if you take that whole thing and you pipe it to dev shm data, and then say cat dev shm data, oh, what you want to do is append it, and then cat that data. It still gets all manipulated by everything, but we're going to go ahead and still see that it says Sue, Mr. Ben Academy. So that's a really ugly way to go about it. So obviously the AU report, the auto report, was way easier. There's one other way of doing this, and that was awk. I'm not super familiar with awk, so this was an opportunity for me to take and learn. So awk is going to be able to go in and look at stuff. So I want to look for data equals, oh, I need forward slashes. Data equals forward slash. And if I just say that, and I hit star, I'm gonna look through all the files, and it's gonna do kind of the same thing. So it went through, it's a very quick way of doing grep. It's gonna find that stuff. But you actually have additional things that you can do with awk. So here I can say, based on fields. So this is field 1, 2, it goes off a space, so this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think it might be 10 or it's 11. So you just say print F11. Put a curly brace, and it gave me everything. So print, not F, just 11. Okay, so it is the data field, but it says data equals. Now you can pipe that out and do a cut, but awk has its own thing built in. So if I want to say this, I can just say, give me the substring of 11, and then we're going to say where it starts at. And because there's this right here, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so we want to start on the 6th character. I'm going to close that out. And now you get everything you wanted, those little data lines, up to the 6th character, all in this, and it's one function instead of doing the grep and the cut and trying to, so it was a cat, a grep, and a cut before, and that was just crazy. We've got it down to one command. Same thing as before, you can do a for L in, and then run this all as one command. And then just say do echo L XXD RP. Done. But you're still going to run into the same problem where it's overriding itself based on the screen values and everything. So I highly recommend that AU report and just saying TTY. But to look for that, you had to know what you're looking for. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Well, right now we've got credentials. So let's go ahead and do this. So Sue, Mr. Ben, give it that password. We have a new login prompt. We'll do a bin bash. We are Mr. Ben. We say ID. He doesn't have any special groups. Let's try sudo L. Now he can sudo L. And so with that, we know that we can do user bin composer. This is one of my other favorite things is GTFOBins. So GTFOBins allows you to see what you can do if you have sudo rights. We know that we are trying to do composer, and there's an option for sudo. So this one is this easy. This is actual copy paste. I'm going to go to dev shm just so I know I can write. Copy paste. And I got a prompt. I say ID, I am root. CD root, root.txt. No, you can't CD. So CD root ls. I'm going to look at this academy.txt, and it's just saying, ooh, I'm gonna shrink this down. Maybe it'll look a little bit better. It's not gonna let me shrink it down. Let's go ahead and look at this. Zoom out. All right, looks a little bit prettier there. So it's HackTheBox Academy. It's some nice text. We've been hard at work. Check out the training platform, and this is their link to get to the new platform. So similar to how Swag Shop ran, and it launched into its own intro to, this is how they're introing each of the new functions. So go ahead and register for account, check those out. Now we can do a cat root.txt, and we got a root.txt. 35 minutes, not too bad. I will say there were a couple of pains in there as well. Gobuster ended up becoming an option that we had to go into, and then just the audit report was another easy, super easy feature. So I appreciate that you guys all stuck around for this one. Not too bad, quick and easy out the door, and go ahead and learn some more stuff on the Academy platform. I want to thank Mr. Ben and Egress. They're the ones that put this one together. Did a great job. Pretty super easy and fun, but not too much to worry about. I hope you enjoyed some of the new tips and tricks that I put out there, especially with GTFOBins if you haven't seen it, and then a little bit of the awk that even I was learning as I went along. So stay tuned for more. I really appreciate your time. We just hit a milestone. We got over 100. I know it's not a lot of subscribers, but it is a big deal. So thank you for everyone that is coming back week to week. For today, I'm going to say have a great weekend. See you guys next time.